Okay, good morning. I guess you can hear me. Okay, let me share my screen. So let me know if you're unable to see my screen and if you're unable to hear me. Okay, right. We have been completed the fundamentals and working on fundamentals is a day-to-day task for you. Okay, every day you have to be work on those fundamentals. Then only you have to come up with the next concepts inside a Salesforce. Okay. So So today we'll discuss about one more interesting thing that is called as triggers. Okay. Today we'll discuss about triggers. Before going to the triggers, understand clearly. Okay. Before going to the triggers, there is some automation process. There is some automation process inside a Salesforce. And as we know, that automation process is going to be deal with workflows and process builder, right? I'm just making you to better understanding and bringing some, you already worked on workflows and process builders, right? I'm just making you to remember. So these are nothing but automation process like workflows and process builder. Okay. Workflows are nothing but it's an automation process. It perform few actions like field update. You have a next task, creation of task. Yes. Sending email alerts, outbound messages. We have covered these three, okay, but still we are pending with outbound messages. Similarly, your process builder can perform like invoking Apex class, okay. So like this. So invocation of Apex class, okay. Create record, update records, sending email, submitting approval process like this. So on couple of actions. So these actions are limitedized, right? So these actions are limitedized. Okay. And do you know this automation process like workflows and process build automation process when those can be run? Whenever. Okay. Whenever a record created or updated. Whenever a record has been created or updated, so we are going to be take care of this, right? So whenever this process builder and workflows are going to be invoked, whenever you create a record or updated a record, that means it's already done. Whenever the creation is happened, okay, whenever update is happened, it is done. Then only these couple of actions are going to be performed. Then what about before? Before that means these operations are behaved at after mode only. There are two modes will be there here generally. In a real time, there are two modes will be there. Okay. As like, in a real time, there are two modes will be there. Like before mode and after mode. If you are doing a certain things, definitely there it will have a two things. If you're doing a work, that one will have two things. Before work, after work. Right? Similarly, whenever you create a record, whenever you update a record, or whenever you delete a record or undelete a record, definitely there are different modes will be there. So those modes are nothing but before mode and after mode. Okay. Your workflows and process builder will handle after modes because you see the evaluation criteria. I have to make you to remember. We have seen the evaluation criteria in workflow saying that whenever the record has been created, whenever a record has been created or updated it, anytime, whenever a record has been created or anytime edited subsequently to meet its criteria. What all these stuffs are? It is a past tense. That means it's already done. Okay, it's already done. That means they runs in the after mode. Before creating the data, okay, before creating the data, I want to validate the data. Or before creating the data, I want to supply some data while in the process of insertion or updates, whatever it may be. Okay, so before modes is not possible with workflows and process builder, but you can deal with your triggers. So now you got an answer when to go for a triggers. Okay, if I want to deal with the before modes, then definitely I can go for an opted for a trigger. I did not explain you what exactly the trigger is, but I'm telling you at what time I can go for a trigger. Okay. So if I want to explain what exactly the trigger means, trigger is also nothing but an automation process as like your workflows and process builder. Okay. Based on the complexity, it performs the complexity actions. Okay. It validates and it performs the complexity business logics. So at that time, we can go for a triggers. Triggers are nothing but an automation process. It performs complexity operations in both before mode and after modes. Okay, before modes and after modes. So your trigger can deal before mode and after mode, both. Got it? Your triggers can deal before mode and after mode as well. Okay, that is a very important thing what you have to do. And when it comes to the part of workflows and process builders, they'll do it here, created and updated only. Then what about edit? So what about delete? What about undelete? They won't do, right? Okay. So, but your triggers can perform. So let us say there are events will be there on the record. There are a couple of events will be there on the record. Events means I'll show you. I opened a contact. Okay. I just opened a contact. When I click on new button, let me fill up these details. I just fill up the details and clicking on the save button. When you click on save button, what happens? It saved the record. It inserted the record, right? And ID has been generated. It inserted the record and ID has been generated. It inserted the record and ID has been generated. That is the beauty, right? So similarly, when you click on delete, when you click on edit, you can change it, right? See, I changed the record. That means I edited the record. I inserted the record. I edited the record. I just click on the delete button. That means record has been deleted and it is there inside a recycled bin. This is the record which I deleted. That means I inserted, updated, deleted. Now what I can do, I selected this record and clicked on the undelete. That means record has been undeleted. That means record has been undeleted. That means it restored. Record is not yet created. It is restored. Okay, it is restored. That means I can perform following actions here. Okay. What are they? Insert I can perform. Update I can perform. delete I can perform. Okay. And delete I can perform. Right. These are the actions, right? I can perform. Right. See, insert, update, delete, and then delete. We can call it as events. We can call it as DML events, but performs on the record. Okay. In trigger, if I open this one, okay, understand clearly. This is trigger. Okay. Trigger will have two modes, before, after. Okay. If I perform insert operation on the record, if I perform insert operation on the record, okay, so definitely it will have two things, before and after. Every operation will have before and after. So we can consider as before insert. We can consider as after insert. Are you getting the point? Before insert and after insert. Remember these diagrams. And on the record, okay, I can perform update operation, right? So again, it will have modes like before and after. That means you will have before update and after update. Similarly, if I do delete, you will have before delete and after delete. That means what we can call those are trigger events. What we can call trigger events. Trigger events are will be like this. Before insert, after insert. Okay. Before update, after update. Before delete, after delete. Okay. Now you don't have a before and delete. There is undelete operation, but you don't have a before and delete. The reason is before and delete, there is no existence of record. Okay. So you don't have anything else there. So in that part, we have only the after and delete. So how many events we are having here? 7 events we are having. So how many events? 7 events. Before insert, before update, before delete, after insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. So these are the 7 trigger events. What is the importance of that events? Means what your workflow is doing. Workflow lesions whenever the record has been created or not. It lesions and it checks the criteria. If criteria matches, then it performs the action. See, if you clearly understand my workflow sessions, you will get the clarity. There is an object. What you can do in the object, you can store a record. you can store a record. Either you create or update, whatever it may be. You created or edited, whatever it may be. Okay. Your workflow will continuously listens, right? Whenever you write workflow on this respect to object, whenever you write workflow on this respect to object, okay, it will listens. It will listens. If the rule matches, if the rule matches, what it will do? Performs action. Actions means sending email, creation of tasks, okay, outbound message, field update. Those actions it will perform. When it will perform? Whenever the rule is matched, criteria has been matched, rule is matched. When you are going to check this matching, when you are going to check this rule, whenever the record has been created or updated, okay, whenever you write workflow on this respect to object, that means what you're directly saying to the system, Mr. System, please listen. Okay, if an object is creating, in the process of created or in the process of updated, okay, if it matches my criteria, then perform the respective actions. That's what your workflow is saying, right? That's what your process builder is saying. Okay, that's what your trigger will also be saying. Say the same thing. Trigger also saying the same thing. You will also write trigger on the object if the record has been created or updated, but it performs the more actions like delete and delete also it will capture. Delete and undelete along with created and updated, your trigger also captures delete and undelete. Okay, that means trigger, understand this statement here. Trigger always listens whenever the object related record has been created or updated or before insert or after insert. Okay, before update or after update, whatever it may be, deleted, inserted, updated, undeleted, it will listens. Okay, it will listens. It has a capability to listen. What happens after listening? When it listens, based on your rule match, you perform your own actions because your workflow is limited with the actions. Your process builder has been limited with the actions. Okay, but your trigger is not limited. It is a code. You'll write your own logic. You're extending the Salesforce functionality. Okay, you're extending the Salesforce functionality by using of your triggers. If you understand clearly my statement, what I'm trying to say is triggers will listens automatically whenever record has been created or updated or deleted or undeleted. Okay, how you are going to be do? Before saying that, we will write triggers on S object. We will write triggers on S object. Okay, so it will be like this. Come here, click on this developer console. Okay, now click on this file, click on this new, select your Apex triggers, write anything. I just wrote contact trigger and choose your object. I'm choosing my object. This is the name of your trigger. Okay, it's saying that might be some other people. I've been explained triggers in your environment. Give me a second. Come here, click on file, click on new, select Apex triggers. Now click on submit. See a trigger, I just okay. So this is a trigger keyword. This is a trigger name, and this is the S object. And what is this? This is a params. See here it is accepting params as. It can accept the trigger events. That means it will be like this here. Trigger name on your object name and here you can declare trigger events. What are we are having trigger events? These things. According to your requirement, whatever the trigger event you want, you can use it. Okay. So as for time being today, we'll see couple of the trigger events. Okay. Before insert, before update, before delete. After insert, after update, after delete, after and delete. So these are the trigger events. We can write it. Okay. So you can write all the 7 trigger events like this. So like this, you can write all the 7 trigger events. Okay. But we'll see that one later. That means you're saying to the system, if the contact is creating, capture those 2 events before and after. Let us see. Like that you are saying to the system. Okay. Spelling mistake. Save it. See, this is the way how you write a trigger. Trigger, name of the trigger, specify your object, and supply your trigger events. What exactly you want to be captured. Okay, what exactly you want to be captured. Okay. Let me see how can I execute these triggers. Now I'm talking about execution of trigger. This is very important. I'm saying some points for you. I'm saying like what exactly the trigger is, how the trigger is going to be right, and what are the trigger events are there, and what kind of a modes the trigger can perform. Okay, now I'm talking about how you are going to execute your trigger. Okay, because how you executed this Apex class. How you executed this Apex class, right? From anonymous window, right? Let's say. How you are executed this Apex class from anonymous window, right? Right. So by instantiating of this class, by calling of this method, explicitly you intentionally called this class. You intentionally hitted this class, right? You intentionally hitted this class and these methods, and they are coming. They are executing, right? So similarly, so not similarly, okay? Then how can I execute this trigger? Did you execute a workflow? Did you execute a process builder? My questions. Did you execute a workflow on a process builder? No, you never executed workflow on a process builder. Automatically they recognized how that's what they call automation process. Without intervention of the developer or a programmer or administrator, okay, automatically when based on the record level changes, okay, these two processes are going to be executed, right? Similarly, that's what I said, triggers also comes under automation process. Whenever record created, system will listen, system is ready to be listened, okay, it will listens, okay, it will listens actually, okay, it listens. So how do you execute a trigger means? By just create or update or delete or undelete a record, okay, to invoke your triggers. So by just creating or updating or deleting or undeleting, okay, records, by just create or update or delete or undelete the records to invoke a trigger, because it is an automation process, system will take care of that one, okay, listening of everything. And final statement what I'm going to giving you today is, by writing these events, what happens is, you are saying to the system, boss, a record is going to be inserted, please capture before mode or please capture after mode. Now a person is going to insert a record. If you write like this, your trigger will capture the before mode of that record and after mode of the record. First we'll see about the before inserts and later we'll see about the rest of the things. Save it. Trigger name on a subject, and this is a before insert and after insert, okay, before insert and after insert. Why you wrote only these two? Because you are saying to the system, boss, don't capture delete, don't capture update, don't capture undelete, but you have to be capture insert operation. You can also specifically say, don't capture after, don't capture before mode, please capture only the after mode. So you're explicitly saying to the system, based on your instructions, your trigger is going to be performed. That's what I would like to tell you. That's the point. Now let's work on the before inserts. We'll see. I don't want to write any logic here for the time being. I'll just write like this, system.debug. Save it. I just wrote a trigger and I configured the events here, and there is no logic. I just use the system.debug statement. Now I'm trying to execute these triggers. Okay, now I'm trying to execute these triggers. Let us see how can we execute this one. Okay, so before going that, I want to monitor my triggers, right? So how you monitor your workflows here? How you monitor, because we have to monitor our automation process, right? You are going to monitor your workflows and process builders by these options. But how can I monitor my triggers, whether they are executed or not? Okay, you can also monitor with your logs. With your logs is not a new concept for you. You know it. Logs is not at all a new concept for you, because every day you're looking into these logs, right? These logs, right? But these logs are not stored anywhere. I want to store these logs because you're going into the complexity of coding part. So you should get a maturity on the logs as well. We know how to observe the logs and everything. Okay. So now I want to capture these logs. I want to save these logs also. So how can you do that one means you come here. Okay. Before working on triggers, I'm just saying about these logs. So you have to capture these logs today as well, because I want to monitor my triggers. Okay. So you just click on these logs, come into the monitor section, click on debug logs. Okay, come here. There is an option called new. Click on the new. Who is the user? Manikanda is the user. Okay, click on new. I just clicked on the new. Okay, here you have a asking for a name. So you have to give the username. Okay, because triggers you can also run in the user specific point. Okay, so you can capture the logs for that particular users, because there are many users are there. Okay, out of those many users, if you want to capture only the particular user logs, means you can use this one. Now come here. So I have two users are there, but I don't want to go with these two users. Let me go with this person. Okay, this person. Now, from which time to which time you can capture logs up to 24 hours, not more than that. So that's why I'm going like this. So today is 13 and I'm going for a 14. Okay, for one day. And it is asking for the debug log levels. I will explain you clearly about the debug log levels. Okay, as for the time being, system has given, it gives the complete information. So I'm just choosing this one. This is a by default. You can also view it in your arts. Okay, you can see. Okay, it saved successfully. Now let us see. Go to your home page, click on the contacts, click on the new button. You're trying to create a new record, right? You're trying to create whatever the operation you perform on this org respect to this as object based on this username, the logs will be captured. So I just given like this and clicking on the save button. Right? Record has been saved successfully. No problem. Okay. Here also you can see the logs. See, this is the log. The same log. See this operation 003/E. That means it's a new operation. That means it's an insert operation. The same operation. You come here, go to the debug logs and refresh it. You can see the same operation. Both are the same logs. Okay. I can also download this log. So the log will be downloaded here. From here also you can download the log, but you have to open it. Open this one, click on the file, see download the log. A log will be downloaded. But this log will be cleared whenever you close this one. Okay, whenever you close this one, these logs will be cleared. It's not persistent completely here. But the logs what are available here, it can be remains the same until you click on delete all. Okay. You command open in the 100th day or after 150th day also it can be open. Okay, let's view this one. Observe the code unit starts. So your coding unit has been started from here, from triggers. Okay, this is a trigger. First before insert has been called. I wrote two things. I wrote before insert and after insert. Two inserts I wrote. But first before insert has been called. Because in the operation, first every time before we call first and next after we call. Even though you write like this, you might think, boss, you wrote this operation, this capture event first. That's why it goes with the before insert. No, that's not the right thing. That's not at all a right thing. There is a sequence order for the triggers. Okay, there will be a sequence order. That means first before we call, the next after we call. ఓకే నువ్వు ఎలా అన్నా రాసుకోవచ్చు బట్ దానికంటే ఒక ఆర్డర్ ఉంటుంది ఓకే సో యూ పర్ఫార్మ్డ్ ఇన్సర్ట్ ఆపరేషన్ సో ఫస్ట్ బిఫోర్ ఇన్సర్ట్ విల్ కాల్ దెన్ నెక్స్ట్ ఆఫ్టర్ ఇన్సర్ట్ విల్ కాల్ Let us see. See, first before insert is called. Okay. You did not write anything else. You just wrote a debug statement called as is trigger executed, and it is executed. And that statement will have some governor limits. For the transaction, will have governor limits. And now another transaction within the same transaction only. Okay. Here the code unit finish, and again the code unit starts. Again the code unit starts. What? After insert. And again for after insert also, you are showing is trigger is executed. Okay. Got the point? Okay. So both operations is showing the same results. Both operations is doing the same results. It's showing the same thing. I don't want to show like that. I want to show like this. This trigger is executed for before. See, now understand my requirement. Okay. Whenever a new contact has been created, okay, capture both before and after. Okay. But I want to track the logic. For before insert, I want to show only this debug log. For after insert, I want to show only this log. Okay. Let us see whether they're exposing the same or not. If not, we have to do some workaround. Come here. Close this stuff. Click on contacts. I just wrote something. This is also new operation. Okay. Delete this stuff. Now nothing is there. Now click on save. So it saved successfully. Now come here, refresh the stuff. You can see the log. Okay. Now what is my requirement? If you understand my requirement, if I use here, I'm using both operations, right? But what is my expectation is if before insert is going on, then only execute this statement. If after insert is going on, then execute this one, because both are the two different transactions, right? Two different modes. So I want to execute these both statements individually. Now let us see what happens. Okay, before insert started, code unit started, before insert started. You scroll down. Array, see both debug statement has been printed. In before insert, before and after is inserted, before and after is executed, right? Statements has been given. Okay, let's check with after insert. After insert also doing the same thing, before and after. So before insert jarugutunnappudu there is no specification, so that's why it executed both. After insert jarugutunnappudu there is no specification, so that's why this both inserted. That means I want to track the logic. Okay, I want to show the track the logic in the trigger. How you can do means like this. Come here. Put if condition like this. If trigger dot is before అయితే ఇది perform చేయి. Else if trigger dot is after అయితే ఇది perform చేయి అని చెప్తున్నా. See this one. This is if condition, we know, right? Sorry. I'm not expecting you to write a triggers today, or I will never expect you to write a code. Okay. But what my intention is, I will only expect you to understand the code first. Take the habituality of understanding this course. Okay. So this is a trigger. Name of the trigger, S object. These are nothing but trigger events. I can write all those 7 trigger events at a time also. And I can variate the logic. I can track the logic. I can separate the logic with the help of this stuff. What we can call that one technically. Those are trigger context to variables. What is those? Those are trigger context to variables. All these are most highly important interview questions, what I'm going to be delivered. Okay. It will decide your job factor. Please be concentrated. Okay. We can call it as trigger context to variables by using variables. Variables means you are very heard about the variables, right? Okay. This is a Boolean variable. This is a Boolean variable. Is before is. If a variable starts with is, then you can consider it as a variable. So this trigger is given by the systems. Okay, this is a variable given by the Salesforce. What is this variable return type? Boolean. If you're performing, if your trigger is performing before insert, then before insert will become as a true. If your trigger is performing after insert, this before insert becomes as a false. Before mode only, it will be a true. In after mode, it will be a false. When it comes to the part of this one, before mode, it will be a false because it is not an after. In the after mode, it will becomes as a true. So this is the way how I switch my logic based on this trigger context to variables. So let us see the output first, and then we can discuss more about on that. I just saved my trigger by just giving some trigger context to variables, and I separated the logic with the trigger context to variables. Now I'm going to create another stuff again, another contact. Why I'm creating every time a new contact, boss? The reason is because of your code. You wrote code only to capture the events of insert operations. Okay. Clicking on save. It is trying to show might be network issue. Let's wait for the time being. What happens is, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let it take time. Let's see why it is taking time. We'll try one more time. Okay, this is the trigger name which I given. This is the contact name which I given. I'm clicking on the save button. So contact has been saved successfully. Now come here, refresh the log. Now here you can see a log. Click on the view. A log has been opened. See before insert. See in before insert, it provides only the before. There is no after, right? So this is the way how we can switch your logic, right? Similarly, for after insert, you can see only the after. There is no before. You understood? So like this. So there is a concept called trigger context to variables. So what are the trigger context to variables means? ఇలా ఉంటాయి. Trigger dot is before. Trigger dot is after. Okay. So these are the modes. These are for modes. Okay. Similarly, you are having for events. Events like trigger dot is insert. Trigger dot is update. Trigger dot is delete. Trigger dot is and delete. What is this? Insert operation చేస్తున్నావా? Then this one will come as a true. You're doing update operation, then this variable will be a false. All these are Boolean stuff. All these are nothing but the Booleans. Okay. Is insert. Is means a Boolean representation. Is. It will have only two values, either true or false. If you're performing insert operation, here it will be a true and rest of the things will be a false. If you're performing delete operation, this one will be a true and rest of the things will be a false. If you're performing before delete operation, this one will be a true and this one will be a true, rest of the things will be a false. That's what, right? So again, you will have collections. This is very, very important. Collections like trigger dot new, trigger dot new map, trigger dot old, trigger dot old map. See these things. Okay. These are the modes. These are the events. Then what these are? These are the collection variables. All comes under trigger context to variables. All comes under trigger context to variables. Okay. All comes under trigger context to variables. In trigger context to variables, we have two things are there. The first one is Boolean representation, and second thing is collection representations. Inside a Boolean representation, we have a modes and events. Modes like is before and is after. Is inside. These are all are Booleans. Here you can collect the data. Data means records or contact records, opportunity records, whatever it may be. On what object you are writing an trigger, those object related data will be available here. Let's say, for example, we'll come to these collections. Wait. First of all, you know how to write a trigger syntax. You know how to apply the trigger DML operation, trigger events like this, right? You know how to triage the logic based on the operations. You can use like this also. Is insert. Insert, because both are insert operations. So this logic will be helpful only for the insert operations. Okay, you can vary it for the update also. Okay, you can show the variation for the update also. I will show you now. Okay, so let's Let's show the variations of your trigger context to variables. Before going that, okay, before going to show the variations of trigger context to variables, I want to discuss more on these collections. As for time being today, trigger.new. Okay, we know these are booleans. ఈ categories మొత్తం booleans. So actually, if people ask you the question like what are the trigger context to variables means, you can say like trigger context to variables are trigger dot is before, trigger dot is after, trigger dot is insert, is update, is delete, is undelete, trigger dot new map, old map. Okay, you have to say these are the trigger context variables. Rest of the things are also there like trigger dot is executed, trigger dot size. Those are not required for you, but these are the mandatory things. Okay, so still we'll concentrate only on this one. Let us see here. Let us concentrate on the collections because we already know about the modes and events. Okay, now let's concentrate on the collections. Now I want to capture only the before insert operation. Got the point? I want to capture only the before insert operations. I want to capture only the before insert operation. Okay, before insert operations. See, imagine this diagram. Imagine it about this one. Concentrate deeply. This is the object. I can create a record. Or else I can create right. These two statements are correct, right? So that means I can create a record or I can create a multiple records, whatever it may be. I can create a record or I can create a multiple records on the respective object, or else now the object is nothing but a contact. I can create a single contact record or multiple contacts record. Okay. My trigger code must be flexible for both, right? My trigger code must be flexible for creation of single record and multiple records. Multiple records means what? Let us say single record means I just open the contact type, clicking on the new button and filling the details and clicking on the save button, a single record will be created. That's it, done. Creating of multiple records means might be I can load the contact through import wizard or through Apex data loader, or from Apex code I can create directly at a time 5 contacts or 10 contacts or more than of 150 also. Okay, it also comes under multiple contacts. Whatever the stuff you write, my trigger code must be flexible for both. That means we can call it as trigger bulkification. What is that? Trigger bulkification. Bulkification means bulk amount of data is also coming into your trigger. Your trigger has to be handled very happily. Okay, it should be very healthy to handle those bulkifications. So from the beginning only, you have to use this trigger bulkification. There is a concept called best practices of a trigger. Okay, this is one of the best practices. Okay, there's a concept best practice, most asked entry question. That trigger bulkification is a best practice. How you are going to handle the trigger bulkification means, okay, this is our primary criteria now. Okay, this is our primary criteria now. Let us see. Let us see. I will write like this. System.debug. The data in trigger that is supplied by system. See, ట్రిగ్గర్ లోకి డేటా వస్తుంది, అది ఎవరు సప్లై చేశారంటే సిస్టమ్ సప్లై చేశారు. సిస్టమ్ హ్యాస్ సప్లైడ్ డేటా టు దిస్ ట్రిగ్గర్. వేర్ ఇస్ దట్ డేటా? Data is available here. Trigger dot new. System has been supplied data to your customized trigger. See, system has supplied data to your customized trigger. Then where is that data in your trigger means that data has been stored in this collection variable called as trigger.new. Called as trigger.new. Trigger.new is a collection variable, okay, as a kind of a list format. What exactly the trigger.new will have means it will have the fresh set of data what you are trying to be inserted. So those data will be captured by your trigger and it is available in your code, available in your program. What I'm trying to say is, understand clearly. Now, you clicked on the contact tab, right? You click on new button, right? Did I save this? Yeah, I saved this one. Okay, I just given some data. Now I just open the contact tab and I just supplied the data and I'm clicking on the save button. Contact has been saved and we captured only the operation called before insert. Okay, so before saving this data, what system is doing is whatever the record you created, okay, that data has been captured by the trigger and it's supplied to your program. The data is available in trigger.new. That is the beauty of your trigger. See, you inserted a contact. That's it. That insertion will have before and after. But you're instructed the system. Don't capture after mode. Capture only before mode. So that's why you said before. In before also capture only before insert. So you instructed like a before insert. So it only captures before insert. After catching that mode, the data has to supply to your trigger, right? Then only you can work on your logics, right? So how the system has been supplied the data to you means in the part of collection variable called as trigger.new. ఎందుకన్నా చెప్పలేదు. ఓకే, trigger.new. సప్లై చేసిన డేటా trigger.new లో ఉంది. కాంట్ చూపిస్తాను. Come to the debug logs. Refresh it. See, before insert, right? Debug statement, right? The data in trigger that is supplied by system. How it is supplied means like this. See, this is a kind of a collection variable list. ID is null. Why ID is null? Can anyone tell me? Why record ID is null? But here we are having the record ID, right? Record ID generated, right? But why here record ID is null? See, this is the last name, right? What you supply. So the data, whatever the contact record you're going to be inserted, those data is here in your program. Okay, now you can do anything. Now you can do anything because data is available here. So you can manipulate the data, you can show the error message, you can manipulate the data, you can validate the data. Okay, you can do so many things. Okay, in your trigger code. Everyone this call has you understand the importance of trigger new and this trigger context variables and these triggers. Okay, this is very, very important. Now the inserted data, I mean, before inserting the data is available in my system, I can work on that. So you know what do you mean by trigger.new? See, if you come here, if you consider this is a database, right? Before coming to the database, okay, after means before coming to the database, in before we don't have id, we don't have id. Why we don't have the id? Why we don't have the id? Can anyone tell me? Because still it is not yet committed. It is not yet committed in the database. Inka database ka vellaledu. It is not reached to the database. When it reaches to the database, it is committed, then you will get an id. Okay, so that's the reason. So that's the reason you don't have the id. Id as a null. Id as a null. Now let us see. I'll go with a small example and I will wind up this session. Tomorrow I'm going to be examining the complete trigger. Okay. Now here we are having the data, right? Now come here. I can create multiple data or a single data, right? My code must be a bulkification. That's what I said. Either you deal with a single record, multiple records. My code must be a trigger bulkification. So in that case, you are having trigger.new. We know that trigger.new is nothing but a collection variable called as a list. What trigger.new is holding means trigger.new will hold the first set of data, whatever you're going to be inserted. Now you know how to write a for each loop. Like this, now you will write for each loop. Right? This is a collection variable. That's what from the beginning onwards saying this is a collection variable. And you can assign that to one of the variable. And you have to say to the system what data it holds. You have a proof. The data is held by the contacts. So you have to supply the contact for each loop. Right? Save this one. See, there are so many variations are there. You can also write like this: list of contact con list equal to trigger.new. Then you can supply. You remember this one? Might be you remember this one, right? See, put a semicolon and save it. Both are the same. Anything you can write it. Okay, but we can. This is a best practice. By unnecessarily space wastage. So we can call it as a trigger bulkification. This one will help for a single records, for a multiple records, because you're writing a for each loop, right? Now let us see. You can expect the same output, boss. saved successfully. Refresh it, come here. You can see this is a before insert and same output you can see, right? Right, same output you can see. Similarly, let's come here, delete all this stuff. We have written some couple of programs, right? See, this is a contact apex class. When I hit this class, definitely it will create a contact. When I hit this class, definitely it will create a contact. When I hit this method, it creates a contact. When I hit this method, it will create multiple contacts, right? It will create multiple contacts, right? Already creation of multiple contacts we have. See, that's what I said. I can invoke a trigger from the front end or from the back end also. This is a back end code. Now I will hit this method. See, copy this class name. Come to this method. What this method is doing? This is an non-static method. When you hit this method and you supply the integer variable, based on that integer variables, contacts will be created. Based on this integer variable, contacts will be created. Now let me try. Contact Cn equal to new Cn dot this method and supply integer value. I am giving as a 6. How many contacts? 6 contacts. Let me try to insert. So all those contacts has been created. Let's wait. See, we got this option. Open this one. This is a method which I supplied and it is trying to insert those things. So that here you got a before insert. How many contacts you are trying to insert here? 5 contacts, 6 contacts, right? Check the DMLs. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That means my trigger has been accepted. My trigger has been accepted the bulkification. So each and every, see, you're trying to insert a contact record from this apex class and you hit this apex class, these contacts are going to be created. It is created and automatically your trigger has been invoked and it supplied all those contacts here and every contact is going to be visualized. Now you can see. See, these are the contacts 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I created. Now coming back again. That means my intention towards is my triggers can work for the single records and bulkification of records. I want to show you. So that's the reason I showed you like this. Now, when to go for a before triggers means before creating the data, if I want to supply any data, then you can use it. Or before, okay, I'll explain you those things tomorrow because I don't want to, put at a time on your brain. So today your task is understand what exactly the trigger. Before going to the trigger, please look into the one more time of workflows and process builders, then try to understand the triggers. Triggers are nothing but an automation process. It can capture before and after modes of the operations what you perform. So it has like before insert, before update, before delete, after insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. So these are the seven trigger variables, sorry, 7 trigger events, what is going to be captured. And the next, the trigger context to variables, like we are having for booleans and collections, we are having like trigger dot is before, trigger dot is after, trigger dot is insert, is update, is delete, is undelete. trigger.new, new map, old and old map. Still, we are going to be concentrate on this stuff. Trigger.new, new map, old and old map. I just showed you today how to write a trigger, how to execute a trigger, how my trigger is going to be used for the single records and bulkification of records and examination of your context variables. So still we have to do some more examination of the triggers tomorrow. So once we're done with that, we can work on the real-time situations on the triggers. These are very, very important. So please watch this video one more time, multiple times, and try to make it possibility. And you already have my logins of the organization. You can work on that. So that's it for today. Please get on some questions. Still, if you are like still there is a pending in your fundamentals part, stop that one. No worries. Do some warm-up exercises and come and work on these triggers. Don't give gap for triggers. Okay, if you play game with triggers, I can see smoke on your head. Definitely. Then it could be a problem for us, This is the most common requirement in every project, in any level of cloud what you're working. These triggers are very, very common. This automation process is very, very common, right? As kind of applications. So please be concentrate on triggers. Okay. That's it for today. I'll post this video immediately in the next 5 minutes. You can see it in the drive and you can follow up this one. Thank you guys.